For joining us here for Broncos Postgame Live. I am Phil Milani alongside Todd Davis and Nick Ferguson here to recap the Broncos' 16-9 loss to the New York Jets. It's the Broncos. The Broncos have now lost 4 games in a row, 2-5 on the year. Todd, what do you think about today's game?
It was just rough all the way around. I think Brett Rippon came in and did the best he could, but that interception really cost him. Besides that, I don't think he played a terrible game, but it wasn't his game all the way around. I feel like the Broncos have to do more still to find ways to get Courtland Sutton the ball. That's still a problem for them. They tried to go to him late when they really need it, but he needs to be featured throughout the entire game, not just when the game is on the line and you need it. So they have to find more ways to get him involved. Just the offense, man. They continue to struggle. They continue to not look like the offense we expected them to see. I know they're missing Russ out there this week. It's still looking rough.
Yeah, it looks just rough all around. I mean, I agree that Rip did what that's what Rippon could do for you there, but just not good enough today.
No, you know what? I actually thought we were going to see Brett Rippon give us a Cooper Rush type moment, but we didn't see it. But the one thing that we did see, we saw a lot of creative formation, something that we haven't really seen in this offense in a while. I saw one formation. He was a trips left, and they had Greg Dulcich flexed out to the right. We never really see that. Usually we see that from Kansas City. And the first thing I was yelling was, why did it take so long? What was going on? But, Todd is right. This offense is still struggling. But even with that being said, they had their moments when they could have won this game.
Yeah, I mean, all of these games have followed a very similar theme here where in the fourth quarter, it comes down to one play, one decision, and the Broncos too often have just fallen on the wrong side of that. A lot to get to here. We'll talk about the late fourth down decision to go deep to Courtland Sutton there. We'll talk about what Rippon did versus what Russ did and how this offense looks a little bit different with those two quarterbacks there. But let's check out some of the highlights here. As we mentioned, Brett Rippon making his second career start. The only other one was also against the Jets. The Broncos are down 7 in the first. Rippon gets out of the pocket, uses his legs, and finds Jerry Jeudy along the sideline. Jeudy had 7 catches for 96 yards in this game. A few plays later, Rippon under center hands it to Latavius Murray, running behind Andrew Beck. Todd, I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah, you didn't know they could go under center and hand the ball off, right? It looks good to see that big man score and the offense to get in the red zone and make something happen.
Yeah, Andrew Beck clearing the way there, and that looked pretty easy to me. But, hey, this is a Broncos game. It's going to come down to a final play like we mentioned, 16-9. 4th down and 3. They go to Courtland Sutton, go for it all there. Looked like a lot of contact, Nick.
A lot of contact. Yeah, it was. Listen, man. I know I didn't do laundry today, but Sauce Gardner was grabbing laundry, and he was grabbing the jersey of one Courtland Sutton. I don't understand how the ref did not call this.
Yeah, we didn't see any laundry on the field from the refs after that one. Maybe should have. And the Broncos have one more chance, but they fall 16-9, the final, to the Jets. And like we mentioned, 2-5 now on the year, 4th straight loss. Look at the stats here, guys. The Broncos, more total yards, more passing yards, more first downs, dominated time of possession there, but still end up on the wrong side of the final score. Let's talk about that 4th down decision, though, a little bit there. That was a gutsy call, just 4th and 3, game essentially on the line, and they decide to go to the end zone.
Yeah, I think that you do what you need to do to get the first down. That's not necessarily the time you take the shot. And if you do, I feel like it has to be a better placed ball than that. You have to give Courtland a chance to go up top and really make a play. I would have liked to see a better option from our offense. I know you talked about, Nick, about maybe some crossing routes, getting some guys open. It's tough. In man, figuring out who you have in the crossing route, and also zone. Guys get lost in coverage. That would have been a better option for the offense right there.
Yeah, we talked about it before the play took place, and after the play took place. And being a linebacker, I know is the way the offense tries to scheme you, they try to put you in a bind. They put someone in front of you and they put someone behind you. And I kind of feel the idea is that anytime there's an under, there's an over. But we didn't really see that. It's 4th and 3. It's 4th and 3. I know the game's on the line. The Broncos don't have any timeouts. But give me a little more creativity on the last second play.
And that time, they had their 3 timeouts in that situation too, so really anything was available to them. They didn't want to use those because they didn't get it Jets got the ball back there. They were able to hold them, get another chance. But still, again, even on that last try, they tried to go deep to Hamler. I think it was 4th and 10 at the end there. Yeah, when you look across and you see Sauce Gardner there going up against Cortland Sutton, Sutton not having the best day, maybe you choose a different matchup.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're both 6'3". They both can jump. I think that's the one time I probably wouldn't have thrown to Cortland in a jump ball situation. Any other person, any other corner that he's lined up against, I'm going to take that jump ball mentality. Sauce, he'll give him a run for his money just because of his size and his athletic ability. And
Nick, do you like it in that situation where the refs, I mean, you're a defender, let those guys play a little bit, and then that's what happened?
You know what? I don't like it when the officials kind of, or I call them, zebras. I call them because you have to say that when you're playing so the officials or the league doesn't fine you. But in that pivotal moment, I mean, you got to let the guys play, but you got to call the game clean. Clearly, the right hand of Sauce was in the neck collar of Cortland Sutton, and you have to make that call. But once again, we talk about K.J. Hamler throwing the ball down the field. Not trying to take anything away from K.J. Hamler, but in that situation, if you know that Cortland Sutton is going to draw Sauce Gardner, you have another guy. Jerry Jeudy, you mentioned 7 receptions, 96 yards. He's what's going to be placed on DJ Reed. You go there. Mm-hmm. That's where you go to take advantage and actually get the first down. That's all you have to do. That's the thing that's so frustrating for me when I watch this offense. We have several opportunities to make plays, but instead of making plays going for, I guess, the easy play, we always make things hard on ourselves.
And it seems like maybe that's not Rippon's greatest strength too, with his arm strength. Trying to go down the field, 30, 40 yards, maybe not the best for everybody involved there. Let's go out to Empower Field at Mile High. Let's go field level with our A-team, Alexis Perry and Eric DeLalla.
Thanks so much, Phil. You know what, Eric? I said pregame that this defense was going to keep this team in this game, and they did just that. They allowed 1 touchdown, 3 field goals, obviously. What did you like about how they performed today?
Yeah, like you mentioned, Alexis, they just kept this team around. They gave them a chance. That's all you can really ask for from your defense. It looked like they'd scored a touchdown early in the game, which is maybe what this team needed, but yeah, just 2 second-half field goals. They were able to keep them out of the end zone in the second half. Again and again, just put in tough situations, and they got to Zach Wilson. They were able to stifle the running game a little bit, except for that big play by Breece Hall in the first half. Again, you can't ask for much more from this defensive unit, and unfortunately, it just still hasn't been enough.
Yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, I think fans were hoping that Brett Rippon could repeat that 2020 performance against the Jets here today. Obviously, that was not the case. What did you see going on with the offense today?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is maybe a little bit of a message, a wake-up call for those people that thought this offense would look better without Russell Wilson. There was talk of that this week on the radio, nationally, that, maybe things will look better. No, Russell Wilson is this team's quarterback for a reason, and that's nothing against Brett, but just this offense on all levels is struggling to find consistency right now. I don't think the game plan was probably to have Brett throw the ball as many times as he did. I believe 46 pass attempts. Obviously, you're trying to play catch up a little bit there at the end, but they ran the ball well in the first half and then kind of got away from that a little bit. But to only have 1 touchdown and to not go down the field there and score, obviously it's just not going to be good enough. Even though the Jets have a good defense, the Broncos defense plays well, you have to consistently be able to put up more points.
Yep. 4th down here late in the game. Brett Rippon, he goes deep for Cortland Sutton. Honestly, probably should have been a PI called on that one there. Sauce Gardner was just smothered and covering. That was a tough play. Did you like that call there late in the game like that?
Well, I think there it's okay because you have a chance with 3 timeouts left to get the ball back.
Yep.
Obviously, the one on 4th and 10 at the very end of the game, maybe you take the first down. But listen, Sauce Gardner had a really good game. He covered Cortland Sutton well all game long. He played physical. The refs let him play out here. They took a chance. They threw it to their best receiver, and he just didn't come up with it.
Yeah. Okay, well, next week, across the pond, Broncos heading to London, of course. I know you haven't been able to watch the film yet. This is an initial reaction. But what do you hope that you see from the Broncos here in London?
Well, and again, nothing against Brett. I hope Russell Wilson's able to play because he's able to do things that help this offense make big plays that they're missing right now. But you've just got to be able to, again, we've talked about it a lot, find more consistency, be able to string drives together. The running game looked a little bit better than it had, but you've got to continue to improve on that and just find a way to score points. I mean, we can talk all day long about big plays and 3rd down efficiency and that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, you've got to get your way into the end zone. You've got to score points.
Yep, 9 points against the Jags. That's not going to get it done. All right, thanks so much, Eric. Phil, let's send it back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. Clearly a windy day out there at Empower Field at Mile High, but you guys, your hair looked great out there, so thank you very much for that. We are back here in studio. Our hair looking good too, guys, here with Nick Ferguson and Todd Davis. Guys, let's talk about the third quarter and the second half in general here with this Broncos offense, because it looked a lot different. The scoring has not been there in the second half. In fact, in the third quarter, this offense has only scored 3 points this entire season. How do you explain that? Oh, actually, before we get to that, let's go out to the stadium and check in with Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett. We'll listen live at the podium here.
Why you're continuing to struggle on first downs, and they only had 10, and yet you couldn't, results are kind of the same on offense. Just talk about why you're continuing to struggle on offense to put points on the board.
Yeah, I'm sick of being up here saying the same thing over and over again. The opportunities are there, and at some point we got to take them. There's no excuses. We've been in every single game, and we got to win these games. As a team, as the offense, defense, everybody, we've been in these opportunities. We've had these opportunities. We've been in these situations, and it's frustrating being up here having to say the same thing because, like I said, those opportunities are there, and we got to make them. We got to make it. It's that simple. It's the NFL. It's going to be hard. You got to, especially close games, which we've been in, you got to come through and win those games.
Nate, you're right. Do you just feel at some point you don't really have much margin for error on either side of the ball right now?
In the end, you always want to have perfect plays. You always want to have great things happen. Unfortunately, we're just not converting on third down. That's kind of holding us back a little bit. Like you said, we had a lot of first downs. We held the ball for a long time. But we got to score points, and we got to take advantage of those opportunities.
Nate, just what do you think of how Brett played? I think he threw it 45 times today.
He did good. He went in there and he stepped up. Hasn't had a lot of practice, and I think he wasn't phased. He wanted to keep grinding and keep working. Obviously, the 2 picks are unfortunate. That's always a very big stat in how you win and lose games, but that does happen at times. And I thought he did a good job.
2 for you, coaches. First on the injuries, specifically Barron and Mike, and any others.
We had Mike Boone. He's got an ankle. Baron Browning with a hip, and Cam Fleming with a quad. So more guys getting banged up. We got to stay healthy.
And then your defense continuing to put up winning performances. How do you, I don't say reward them, but keep them from getting divisive in there maybe?
In the end, we win and lose as a team. They all know that. That's part of it. We have to hold each other accountable. And those opportunities, like I said, I know it's kind of a broken record, but they're there. And we got to capitalize on them. It's that simple. And once we start doing that, I think we'll be able to see this thing turn around a little bit. But until then, it's going to be the same story. In a close game, and we got to go. We have to find a way to win that damn thing. Sorry, didn't know if I was allowed to say that.
Nate, I think the third quarter you opened with 6 straight passes. I guess what did you want to accomplish coming out of the locker room, and what do you put your finger on just the lack of scoring production in the third quarter so far this season?
We had a couple. I think we had a couple runs in there. Some of the situations determined that we had to pass the ball. Thought we had some good passes that we could still dial up to try to get some movement down the field. Wanted to get back into the red zone, and those things. Some of those were there. Some weren't. But we got to do better coming out of the half. That's been another thing that has kind of slowed us down a little bit. But again, I think in the end, it's that third down mark. The third down wasn't good enough. We got to be better there.
I guess at 2-5, how much has the heat turned up on this season?
The heat's always on. Anything you want to always try to give yourself a chance to get to the playoffs. We're behind the 8 ball right now at 2-5, and we got to fight ourselves out of this hole.
Coach, the shot there to Cortland at the end, just kind of what'd you like from that play call, and what'd you see there?
We knew we were going to get some form of a man coverage from them, so we had a man beater on. We ended up having a matchup with Cortland Sutton, one of our best players, and we wanted to take a chance at that one. So because of the way they played everything on the inside, Rip decided to go to him, and we had, again, another opportunity there. We got to fight for it and get it. And I don't mind that decision by Rip because it's Cortland Sutton. We always want to give him an option to go up and get it.
Coach, recognizing it's only 7 games in, but would you consider surrendering play calling just to widen your lens to maybe try to shake this thing up?
Yeah, I think we'll always look at everything. I always look at myself first and foremost. If there's something that we all agree that I might hold the team back or anything like that, sure. I don't think that's the case. I think there are plays to be had there. I think we have been in and out of the huddle. Everything, the communication has been really good. But we'll look at everything. We'll always look at everything to try to improve and help this offense.
Did you see the pass interference? Get a good look at the pass interference, 3rd and 18.
The one on K1? I did not get to see it. I was getting ready for the next drive. I heard everybody screaming and yelling, though. So I'll be able to check that on tape and see how it was.
Coach, looking ahead, do you expect Russ to play next Sunday, and how will you come to that decision?
He's trending in that direction. He did everything he could to try to be there, but it was just a little early with that short week. So hopefully we'll see him out there, and if not, we'll be smart with him too.
Nate, just because you have a long trip tomorrow, will it impact how you do some of the injured guys?
I think so. We're going to have to talk about it. George, myself, Vince, our whole medical team, we'll have to get a feel. When you have 3 guys that are injured, want to see the severity of that, where that exists because of the long trip, see if they'll even be available as we move forward. So we want to be sure we're smart with the guys.
Okay. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Obviously, very upset. Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett. That's the most aggressive I've ever seen him up there after a game. And we were about to get to it here before he went to the podium. The second half scoring and then in the third quarter. Todd, what's changing from the first half to that point?
Well, I feel like they're not adjusting. I feel like opposing defensive coordinators are definitely doing their homework, and they're adjusting in the second half. And I feel like there's not a lot of work for Russell Wilson to make. I feel like there was multiple times in this game that I saw Brett Rippon be able to find his first read, make a nice throw, and maybe get 4 or 5 yards, just drive starters, just something to get the momentum going. I need to see more of that with Russ in the game. I think that'll help them, jumpstart the offense, get things going, and create, more drives and sustain a better offense.
Because in the first half, they were running the ball. They had some long drives. They were taking easy passes. They had great balance. In the second half, they come out 6 straight passes to start the third quarter. But it sounds like when you listen to Hackett talk there are plays to be made, but they just haven't been able to execute.
Well, it's one thing if the players are not making those particular plays, but it's another thing if they're not being put in a position to make said plays. I mean, you asked the original question, why are they struggling in the second half? I mean, the first half, you're scripting those first 20 plays. When you coming in the game after halftime, there's no script. And like Todd said, well, how are you adjusting to what it is that you're seeing? And for me, basically the adjustment isn't really there. We're not really seeing the proper adjustment like we need to. There's another team that is struggling offensively just like the Denver Broncos, and they run a similar offense, and that's the Green Bay Packers. And their quarterback, after Aaron Rodgers, after losing to this Jets team last week, the first thing he started saying was, we need to keep it simple. And he's absolutely right. With this offense, keep it simple. That's why you didn't have Russell, you had Brett Rippon, and guess what it was? It was a simple philosophy, and they were able to move the ball down the field.
Let's go back out to the stadium. Broncos starting quarterback today, Brett Rippon, is now at the podium.
Yeah, I took a majority of the reps with Russ, kind of trying to get back. He was working some run plays and some different stuff, but I took a majority of the reps. I felt really comfortable going into this game with the game plan.
Brett, 2 for you. First, the 4th and 3 there. What'd you see on the throw to Cortland that you liked?
Yeah, I like a one-on-one matchup with Cortland with inside leverage, press coverage, and that's kind of what we talked about, on the sideline. Is that was the look we were going to get, and that's a great opportunity to throw a go ball or possibly get a pass interference. So. Did I put it in a perfect spot? Probably not, but at the end of the day, we got to find myself and our offense just have to find a way to make more plays.
And then overall, how would you just kind of evaluate how you played today? Obviously, your first start in a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, the first half, I thought I was in a good rhythm. We were getting the ball out quick. I was able to take off and get their pass rush. Kind of frustrated a little bit. You could tell they were getting a little bit frustrated because I was getting the ball out quick and kind of moving around, and the run game was getting after them. Obviously, in the second half, it's just like I thought we had some good plays called and we executed some good plays. We just came up a yard short a couple times. Like the first drive, we have a great shallow route, to Cortland right there, and we don't get it. Comes up to 4th and 1, we got a punt. Same thing to Latavius. I can remember in the 4th quarter, I threw him a little check down right there on 3rd and 2. They went to a zone coverage, and we're short. So I don't know what the answer is. We got to find a way to be more detailed and make plays.
Yeah, kind of along those same lines. We ask Russ a question every week in Coach, but what do you think it is preventing you guys from getting into the end zone when you're moving the ball as effectively as you were at times?
I mean, if we had the answer, I feel like, it would be happening by now. I don't know. Like when we get down there, we had some good plays called. We get to that 4th and 3, and I'm going to take a one-on-one matchup with Cortland every time in that scenario. We had some good plays called. Obviously, the one, that on the pick I would have liked to have back. I thought that safety was taking the deep post when I saw his hips turned, and then I kind of had to get rid of it quick, and he made a good play. But, other than that, I thought we were in a rhythm for the most part. We kind of had them on their heels, and when you only end up with 9 points, you kind of sit here and you're like, I have no idea. So,
Brett, I guess at 2-5, how much desperation is there to save this season?
I don't know if there's desperation, but I mean, I think everybody in that locker room feels the urgency to get better, and that starts with every single guy looking at themselves in the mirror and figuring out what can I do to help this offense and help this team, because when your defense is playing as well as our defense is, you shouldn't be losing games, and that's just point blank period of fact. And we got to figure out what we can do to turn this thing around, because I still think we have a good team. But we got to figure out, what are our best plays on offense. Everybody's got to be on the same page as far as what we're trying to do, how we're trying to attack defenses, and go into each week and have conviction in the plan.
Brett, we saw Russ on the sideline with the headset. How helpful was he to you kind of today and in the couple days leading up to the game?
Yeah, he was great. He was, Russ is always, positive. He's great to be around, a great leader. So he was awesome to have on the sideline.
Okay, thank you very much, Brett.
Thanks, guys.
Disappointed Brett Rippon there, making his second career start in the NFL. We're back here in studio. You're watching Broncos Postgame Live. I'm Phil Milani alongside Todd Davis and Nick Ferguson. What were your takeaways from hearing from Brett? Sounds like these guys get asked the same questions every week, and they just don't have an answer.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, it's the same questions. They're going to have the same answers. They're trying to figure out. They're trying to get it right. I don't know if there's a discrepancy. I know things just aren't looking right, and they're not getting any better. So the guys are going to be frustrated by that. I know the coaching staff is frustrated by that. And then they get to the podium, they ask them the same questions every week. I probably would stop just going to the podium.
Hey, the starting quarterback's got to go up there. One thing he said interesting, Nick, was everybody's got to be on the same page and attacking this all together. That was sort of interesting how he said that.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely interesting because your ears and my ears both perked up. What is he really talking about? Is it something underlying that he's talking about that we need to definitely pay attention to? And he's absolutely right. I mean, the Broncos have not been on the same page offensively and defensively, and we all know what the obvious is. But looking at the offense and why they haven't been able to get it together, it is really obvious. I mean, Brett Rippon just said it. We have to get on the same page, and what that translates to is that, hey, listen, there are certain things some of the players on the offensive side of the ball are capable of doing, but they feel as though they're not being put in that particular position to be able to execute. I mean, you have a wide receiver like Jerry Jeudy. Give him some easy touches. I mean, get him in a slot, run some cross routes, some under route. Do whatever you can to kind of get him involved. But that's essentially, fellas, what Brett Rippon is talking about, getting on the same page. Offensive coordinator, quarterback. But I'll tell you this. Here's something that never comes up. There's one person that works with the quarterbacks more often than anyone, and that's the quarterback coach. If I am, Justin Allen or I'm Nathaniel Hackett, hey, Clint Kubiak is in the room. Ask him. You're around these guys. What do they want? Mm-hmm. Why not try that?
Yeah, well, I mean, what puts a quarterback in the best position to be successful out there? Nathaniel Hackett was asked earlier hey, are you going to think about maybe not calling the plays? There's a lot going on when he's out there. He said that he didn't feel like he was holding the team back right now.
Well, I think there's a problem when you have two people that are in charge. Technically, you have Justin Allen, who's the offensive coordinator, and you have Nathaniel Hackett, who's calling the plays. Justin Allen can put together a great game plan, but if he's not able to implement it the way he would, then it's not going to look right. Same thing for Nathaniel Hackett. So I feel like one person has to be the leader of the offense and the offensive coordinator and be able to call the plays at the same time. So they need to not share the hat. Somebody needs to wear it. I'm not sure who right now.
But I mean, okay, Todd, you're absolutely right. Let's say Justin Allen is coming up with the perfect scheme, right? But you said it in the first segment. It's not just a scheme, it's about adjustments, making in-game adjustments. You can have the best 40 plays that you want to run, and the defense starts to adjust, and guess what? You're sticking to those same 40 plays. No, you have to adjust in this game, and that is the problem, and I think that's what, Brett Rippon was alluding to when he said, hey, we got to be on the same page.
Yeah, and I think even to that, I feel like sometimes with the game plan, I may have a call that works at 3rd and 6, but Coach Hackett wants to call it at 3rd and 4. Now it doesn't look as good. Now it's not working right. And now we're off and not on the same page. So I think, that could be the problem too.
Yeah, he said same page. I mean, it was just interesting how he said it. Guys, take us into the locker room at halftime. I mean, it goes by pretty quick. I mean, if you're just at home, maybe you go to the kitchen, make a sandwich or whatever, boom, the game's back on. What's it like at halftime inside the locker room?
They sit you down and they talk to you about at least defense, overall what's going on, what they're doing on 1st and 2nd down, how we're attacking it. And then they also break down like, okay, well, maybe we'll go to more, man blitzes, or we'll go to more cover 3 to, handle what they did in the first half. They kind of have a little bit of time to tell you about what we did well in the first half and how we're going to adjust in the second half. They're talking to the defense. I don't know if they're talking to the offense about that.
Well, once again, going back and you let Brett Rippon tell it, I guess not. But Todd is right. When you go in halftime, you only have very limited time to get things together. You got to get guys coming from the bathroom, coming back in, sitting down, going over the adjustments and things that you need to do. So you don't really have that much time. But once again, it's going back to the basic things. What are they doing that's giving us problems? And those are the things that we have to fix first.
Yeah, Justin Allen's up in the box. He's got to come down the elevator, get into the locker room, be able to talk about what he's seeing in there. Just a lot going on with this Broncos offense. Hey, the last shot was a deep one to KJ Hamler. Here's him talking at his locker inside the locker room.
Yeah, we ain't never gonna divide. We're a brotherhood, we're a team. As long as we all together, we're gonna stay together, regardless of the situation, regardless of the outcome. It's family. Family don't fold on each other. So we're gonna be good regardless.
Where'd that spark go?
We just gotta gain it back, to be honest.
Thanks for talking. Appreciate it, guys.
So just really one question there for Hamler. Disappointment from the Broncos offensive side of the ball. What about a guy like Cortland Sutton? He had such a hot start to this year, a couple 100-yard receiving games. Last week he just had the 2 catches, and then today 3 catches for 23 yards. Is it the opposing defense just taking him away, Nick? I mean, what have you? Is it something that Sutton's doing? It seemed like even after that last 4th and 3, when it didn't go his way, he didn't get up and visibly look upset. He just kind of went back to the sideline. Like, what are you seeing from one of the Broncos captains?
Well, I'm just seeing a guy who's frustrated, just like KJ Hamler and so many other guys. And offense is different from defense. Like, we get a chance to go out there, run down a guy, and make a tackle and trying to get ourselves in the rhythm. Offensive players are different. I mean, you got to get them the ball early, and a guy like Cortland Sutton, get it to him early in offense. I'm talking about maybe a speed out, maybe a slant route, anything to establish somewhat of a rhythm. And because, once again, we're not talking about Russ throwing you the ball because you are Russ's main target. Now we're talking about Brett Rippon giving you the ball as well, and the ball may spin off his hand a little different. So you got to find ways to work him into the offense early to build that confidence.
And I like what you said about offense versus defense. I don't need anybody to help me make a tackle.
Yeah.
That's me. I can jumpstart. I can get my body going and ready by making a good tackle and get me energized for the game. Cortland Sutton needs a quarterback to throw him the ball. And not only target me, you got to give me a nice ball that I can catch, something that can help me to get my game started. Something short, quick, fast. That's tough as an offensive player. I don't know how I would handle it my whole career, the way I play every Sunday, being so heavily relied on one person.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think that's part of it, too, that they've been waiting for Russell Wilson, a quarterback like that, to have a great season, and then things have not unfolded the way that they wanted to. What do you think about the way that this offense looked today with Brett Rippon? Because one thing that a lot of us have been talking about was, okay, Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett trying to merge these two offenses, and then that's what the Broncos offense is supposed to look like. Today, you insert Brett Rippon, you think, okay, this is going to be more of what Nathaniel Hackett wants to do. What do you see? Did the offense look a little bit different the way they were executing?
I know the outcome is not what they wanted, but I think they did a lot of good things. They looked better as far as putting drives together, especially in the first half. They won in time of possession, penalties, total yards, first downs. That's the way the offense should, be able to operate and do even better with Russell Wilson in the game. So I hope that they can stick to this game plan a little bit better, just implement Russell Wilson, and I think they'll have a better shot at winning more football games.
For me, I saw a lot of things with the tight ends. So the tight ends were targeted at least 13 times. We haven't really seen that in a while. And then on the touchdown from Latavius Murray, we saw the tight end move from right to left to come up and kind of crack up on the linebacker. We haven't really seen that in some time. So maybe it was simplification because it was Brett and it was not Russell, but we saw the offense moving down the field with volume. And then once again, I mean, Jerry Jeudy, one of the most ostracized and criticized individuals in this city, if you listen to local radio. But once again, I mean, he was involved in the offense. I mean, he was more involved than Cortland Sutton. So that tells you right there what this team is capable of if you put your players in the right position.
Yeah, I mean, if they're all in and they're doing it together, there's a lot of playmakers out there. They should be scoring more than 9 points in a game. One of the bright spots, Latavius Murray, he had the Broncos touchdown. He was with Sidney Jones after the game.
Thanks, Phil. Here with running back Latavius Murray. Latavius, obviously not the outcome you guys had hoped for this evening. What was Coach Hackett's message to the team in the locker room following the game?
Just that the opportunities are there for us to make. Got to make them, and but to stay together. We're the only ones that can get us out of this hole, and so we just got to find a way. Got to find a way. It's up to us. So we just got to stay together.
You scored a touchdown tonight, your first as a Bronco. We really saw the running game get going on that drive. What kind of changed from the first half and then in the second half in that regard?
Yeah, I just think we, continue to stick with it. I don't think, I don't think that it wasn't opportunities weren't there. I just think we, stick with it, and I think we believe we can run the ball. Take the 3-4 yards. Look at that as a positive. So just continue to build off of that, find ways to.
You guys head to London tomorrow. What's the mindset now this week, and how do you really turn the page from here?
Yeah, it's a long season, right? And there's 10 games left, is it? Yeah. So you just got to find a way. By any means, the season's not over. All the good teams go on a run, and we got to start it off with a win and build from there. But it just takes one win, and so we got to figure it out. Hopefully, this time away as a team allows us to come together and come back home with a win and really go into that bye with a different mindset.
Davies, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Phil, back to you.
Sidney, thank you very much. Maybe it does just take one win to snap this 4-game skid, and then Broncos can get back on track here. Let's go back inside the locker room and hear from the guy we were just talking about. Here's Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, I think he just, talked about the things that are ahead of us. Once the game is done and the clock hits, zeros, it's nothing else that we can do besides watch the film and learn from it. And, we got a lot of games ahead of us, and we can't, dwell too hard on, this beginning half of the season. It's on us to, take advantage of, everything that's ahead of us and, maximize these opportunities. The season isn't over. We have a lot of opportunities ahead of us, and it's on us to make sure that we maximize those and, to eliminate this feeling that we have and that we've been having the past few weeks.
Court, your day was kind of like the team's day. There were 2 plays when it looked like you had it, especially the one in the end zone at the end. I think a lot of people thought it was interference. I know you're not going to call out the refs, but it just seemed like that it's that close for you guys, and you can't get it done.
Yeah, with that play, it's on me to go make that play. Rip gave me an opportunity to go make a play. The O-line sat in there and did their job. Everybody did their job for me to be able to go make a play, and just didn't come down with it. The DB made a good play, but it's on me to figure out a way to make a play. I got to be perfect for the team, and I'm gonna find a way to fix that, make sure that I'm as perfect as I possibly can be for this offense, for this team moving forward. When it was having a struggling offense over the past few weeks, any opportunity we get a chance to make a play, it's on us to go make a play and find a way to make a play, and that's what we have to do moving forward.
Court, last one I have for you. You lose your starting quarterback. Obviously, it's tough anytime you lose a guy like Russ. What'd you think of the way Brett played?
Yeah, Brett came in and played his butt off. I didn't hesitate at all when we found out that Brett was going to be our starter, because the guy prepares his butt off. He's as smart and as capable as anybody that can sit back there and play quarterback for us. And he came in and we knew he was getting the nod. He went to work as he does every day, and he put himself in a position to go out and be successful. He put us in a position to go be successful, and it's on us to find a way to go out and make that win for the team, but also get that win for him. He, like I said, he stepped into the role, assumed the role, and was ready to go. And as an offense, as a team, that's all we can appreciate from him is they came in and he was ready to go. He was prepared. He understood what was coming. He understood the offensive scheme that they were putting together, understood the defense, and gave us chances to go make plays.
Court, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
That's Cortland Sutton talking inside the Broncos locker room. Brett Rippon, 24 of 46, 225 yards, the 1 interception, and then the 1 sack. Cortland, not going to say that was pass interference, though, huh?
No, he's a great teammate, great leader, great man. He's going to take ownership. He's going to feel like he has to do something, step up. I hate that he feels like he has to be perfect in order for the Broncos to win. Nobody's perfect. He's going to go out there and give it the best that he can. He just needs a little bit of help. He needs somebody that can, get him the ball on time. He needs to be featured a little bit more. But, I love him as a player and as a person. I think he'll do everything he can to help the Broncos be successful.
Yeah. Man, let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100. Cortland didn't say what we all know, and it was a tug by Sauce Gardner because, there's a fine associated for saying anything disrespectful or criticizing the officials. So, Cortland, you can't say it. They can't find me now. I'm retired. But I'll say it. That was a blatant holding. They almost got me there. I almost broke a rule here. But, yes, you can't make that type of play as a defender. But I totally understand that Cortland is right. He definitely needs his team. He needs to make that particular play because his team needs him. But, yeah, that was a holding on Sauce Gardner. So I'll take the fine, and I'll keep it off of you, Cortland.
See, I didn't say anything. I'm recently retired.
Yeah.
I think I still have a little bit of PTSD. like they still might
Call it how you see it, Todd. Yes, those officials,
that was a fine.
They do get it wrong.
Yes,
they do get it wrong.
I think it's possible they might still come after you guys. So I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about the Broncos running game a little bit there. Latavius Murray had the touchdown, but Melvin Gordon did get the start, Todd.
He did, but it seems like it's kind of like out of balance or out of whack now. He's coming back in, is able to start, had 11 carries today. They're finding a way to get Latavius Murray in there and also Mike Boone. They don't really know what they want to do, it looks like, as far as their premier running back. It's kind of like running back by committee right now. Hopefully they figure it out. I still think Melvin Gordon is your number 1 running back. You feature him and hope that he holds onto the ball.
On the yes, you do.
Wait a minute, Todd. How'd you say feature him and then you go, oh.
You hope, you know what I'm saying?
Hopefully,
yes, he slid that right in. Hopefully he holds onto the ball.
Because if he holds onto the ball, we all know how good he is.
Yep.
That's his one flaw. Everybody has, I guess, an Achilles heel, and that may be Melvin Gordon. So if he finds a way to hold on to it, I think he can be a really good back in the NFL.
Well, over the past 2 games, Melvin has done a great job holding on to the ball. It's just the fact of figuring out how to both implement both he and Latavius Murray in this backfield. And for me, I would love to see both of them in the backfield at the same time. You know how much stress that would put on the defense? Well, are they going to run it? Are they going to pass it? And then we know the Broncos' offense, as far as their struggles are concerned, it is about establishing a rhythm and balance. Get those 2 guys in an effective running game as they were trying to establish today. But let's just try to be a little more creative with both of those guys.
On the touchdown drive, they went 13 plays for 75 yards. 9 of those plays were runs. I mean, they had a lot of success with that, and especially as the game goes on and on and on, if you're running the ball like that, it pays off in the fourth quarter, Todd.
It definitely does. Guys don't want to have to tackle guys all game long. And I think they're, feeling a little bit more comfortable with the run game. I think it looked good because Quinn Miners and Billy Turner are now, right in their rightful spots as starters. And I think the more they gel together, the better offensive line will look in the run blocking.
We saw Cam Fleming go down today to an injury, but really the only guy who was missing is Garrett Bowles.
Yeah, Bowles was the only guy that definitely was missing, but Todd is right. I mean, for the first time, we started to see what this offensive line could look like. Obviously, you missing Bowles, but, Cam Fleming filled in, handsomely at that left tackle position. But once again, I mean, you mentioned about the Broncos running the football. What that opened up was the usage of the tight end. We saw, Greg Dosage involved. We saw Alex Beck. We saw so many guys involved from a tight end perspective that we didn't see before. But this is what the run game can do. It can open up the boots that keeps and allows a quarterback to get outside the pocket and have an option to either throw it or to run it.
Dulcich had 6 catches for 51 yards. This running game is crucial to the Broncos offense. Let's hear from Melvin Gordon at his locker.
We got explosive playmakers. As you can see, we could drive the ball down the field at any time, especially when we need to, but we just can't punch it in. And then it's too many 3-and-outs, and we're way too good of a football team to do that. And I think that's the most frustrating part about everything. And the defense plays so well, and it's a given that they the other team is going to make some plays, but for the most part, the defense been playing championship football. And we got to step it up. That's all I can say.
Appreciate the time, Melvin. Thank you. Guys, what's up?
The offense certainly feels like they have to play much better with this defense playing the way that it has these last several games here. Really, the defense played so well, but gave up the one big explosive play. Breece Hall, the Jets rookie running back, a 62-yard run. What did you see on that play, Todd?
That was tough for the Broncos. They've been playing great, all game. My dad used to say even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yes.
The Jets got lucky on that one. I think guys didn't get off of blocks. There was a couple cutoff blocks. I know Alex Singleton got stuck on a block. Baron Browning got stuck on a block. You got to be able to use your hands, shed offensive linemen to get off and make a play.
Well, I tip my cap to, Mike LaFleur, offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. Great scheme. It was a toss play to Breece Hall, and it was like a alleyway that was open up for Breece Hall to run through. And like Todd said, there was a lot of guys who kind of took the path of least resistance. I know Mike Purcell was trying to fight over the Jet center, but he went behind him, and then Jonas Griffin came in, and when the center sifted up, he too went behind him. You got two guys in the same gap. Now that puts stress on the defense, and Breece Hall is a good running back. He was really patient on that play, and he just found the crease, and then he just hit his head on the goalpost. And that was kind of the only, big play, explosive play on the Broncos defense. And if you go back to a lot of these games that they have lost, even the Raiders game, it was moments like that. When you're playing great, and then that one time someone is out of their gap, now is a big play. That's something they definitely need to clean up. And I'm sure Jiro Evero, the defensive coordinator, that's going to be one of the plays he's going to have them look at.
I know that they're going to say, hey, we got to be better. We can't give up that touchdown. But the defense, do you think they're feeling like, hey, we got to play perfect for us to have a chance to win now?
Yeah, they have to feel like they have to play perfect, and then they also feel like they have to create offense as a defense. They know they're going to have to score, whether it's a pick six or a safety, they're going to have to create some, points. And I feel like it's tough as a defense, to put them in that position and feel like they have to play perfect as well as create offense for us to even have a shot at winning. But that's the boat that the defense is in right now.
Zach Wilson was.
Man, you know what? Zach Wilson, that dude's got a little wiggle to him. I understand why the Jets went out and picked him up. And, there was a lot of guys who were able to get in the backfield, but he made it really difficult for them to bring him down. But for this defense, I'm great that they're seeing quarterbacks like this, because later on in the season, you're going to face Justin Herbert again. Then you have Lamar Jackson, and you have Patrick Mahomes. So I'm glad they're able to see it now. Hopefully they fix their problems as far as pursuit angles and being able to lock down those windows on the quarterback.
That always kind of baffled me, guys. Like Zach Wilson, he had 3 sacks today, but it felt like maybe it could have been like 7. Why is it that when you're a defender bearing down on the quarterback, just a little wiggle and they're just diving all over the place?
It's like Peanuts when he went to go kick that football, and every time
Lucy moved.
Yeah, Lucy would move it every time, and she would get him. It's because your eye is on the prize. All you can think about is your celebration afterwards, and you know them calling your name for the nice sack, and then all of a sudden that quarterback is gone. He's not there anymore. He was just making people miss left and right.
Well, sometimes the biggest issue is staying top shoulder. Can you stay top shoulder on the guy? Because, like Todd said, you see him, and then you just want to go and just kind of grab him, then now he makes a move. But this is why it's important to watch film earlier during the week to figure out what's a quarterback escape routes. What does he like to do? How deep does he like to go? Because sometimes a quarterback, he would be willing to lose ground to gain ground at the same time, but it's right. I mean, you see it right in front of you, man. You're like, oh, I got to go get it. And next thing you know, it's like, what happened is like saying through your hand. That's exactly what some of these quarterbacks are like.
Draymond Jones had back-to-back sacks early in this game. One of them looked like it could have been a game-changing type of play where Zach Wilson's spinning around, the ball pops out of his hand. They said he was down, though.
I thought he got robbed. What you think?
Of course he got robbed, man. So, wait, first of all, I know it. Halloween is upon us, but the officials already had their mask on already, right? Because the Broncos were robbed on that particular play. And I know, one butt cheek, a knee, or a forearm that puts you down. But if you look at the play in slow motion, Zach Wilson's right hand, he used that ball to kind of stabilize himself, and the ball was coming out of his hand. So once again, Broncos country, we were robbed, man. We were robbed.
Robbed.
Great stagecoach, man. Jesse James, we were robbed.
We've heard a lot from a lot of guys on the offensive side of the ball, rightfully so, as the Broncos lose 16-9. But how about the captain on the defensive side? Here's Justin Simmons after the game.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we just got to win. I'm just going to sound like a broken record, but that's all that matters. That's all anyone cares about. And, we always are falling short. We just got to find a way to win those games.
These games have a tendency to look alike every single week. I know there are different things that are happening that's allowing that to be the case. But how do you clear the slate mentally and reboot for the next week?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, but, nobody cares at the end of the day, right? Like, that's what we get paid to do, is go out here and try to find a way to win games. There's no poor me's, nobody cares how you feel, what you're feeling, what you're going through. You just got to win at the end of the day. We understand that. There's no pity parties about that. And so for us as individuals, for us as leaders, it's about finding how to win football games, at the end of the day. And, only good thing about this league, man, is, there's always next week. It is what it is. You look yourself in the mirror, we're 2-5, 0-2 in the West. And, that stings. It hurts to say, but that is what it is. There's no shine from that. So we got to go to London and find a way to win against Jacksonville.
In your worst nightmares, could you have imagined a 2-5 start this season?
No, but, here we are, right? So, like I said, no poor me's, no thinking about the past, no thinking about this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, your best players got to find ways to make plays to win football games, and it's just not happening, myself included. So that's just what it comes down to. We just got to win games.
Cortland just told all of us that he respects how much you guys, your side of the ball, is playing your part, and that he feels like they got to hold up their end of the bargain. Does he let you know that?
With all due respect to Court's comments, it's a team game. So the fact of the matter is, there's 16 points scored, and we only scored 9. So we're at fault, too. I don't care what the stats say. I don't care what our rank is defensively. We didn't play good enough to win this football game. We let off that, I think it was like a 62-yard run early. We let up a 1st and 25, I believe, to Carter, 32. That got them into plus territory. They got a field goal off of that. Right there's 10 points, 9-6. So that's what I think about. I don't think about what's going on the other side of the ball. I can't control that. I can control the defense and what we do and our mindset. And, we didn't play nearly good enough to win this football game.
62-yard run. Can you erase that from your mind?
I told you he was going to say that. Hey, the defense has to just control what they can control. But let's wrap up the show now. The Broncos have to turn the page. They head to London tomorrow. They're going to spend a whole week there before getting set to play Jacksonville next Sunday. Could this be a good thing where the team gets away from here? They go to a different country. They got to spend a whole week together, staying at the hotel together. Is it possible that's a good thing, Todd?
I think it is. It gives them time to bond and really figure out how to come closer as a team and really work out the kinks that they have. They go to play the Jags, who are also 2-5, and I think that's a very, very winnable game for the Denver Broncos. And then that leads right into their bye. I think it's a great time for Justin Outten and Nathaniel Hackett to once again go over the offense, see what we did wrong, see what we did right. How do we implement a better game plan moving forward? So I think this is, the perfect time for the Broncos to kind of hit that reset button to move forward better.
Yeah, usually, no matter if it's a win or a loss, you always say, well, hey, we have 24 hours. This is not even that type of game. Now you have 4 hours because now you have to get on a flight to head to London. And, you're right, Todd. Now you get a chance to play it against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now you're going over to the UK. The noise is not going to be as loud from a negative standpoint on you. So on that trip over there, I'm sure the guys are going to get together in the back of the plane and they're going to have that conversation. I mean, we always talking about, guys getting together, having that players-only meeting. Well, that meeting is going to take place on the plane, right? It may even take place on the tarmac tonight before they even leave. But the whole idea is that this team still has some quality games ahead of them. And, Justin Simmons said it himself. He still takes it on the defense. He still thinks that it's their fault because they didn't make enough plays. But this still is a quality team. They still have the ability of turning things around. It's still a long season, but it starts with winning just one game.
Does it feel like that, guys, where if they do get a win, it could just, maybe even it's a big win, things start to feel like they click a little bit? Does it feel like that, or does it feel like we're beyond that at this point?
I think it still feels like that. I think if Russell Wilson can turn it on with the way the defense is playing, there's no reason why they can't, go on a long winning streak and end up being, similar to, their goals before the season started. I think they're not far away from that. It just takes one man to turn it on, and maybe, a couple different calls here or there throughout the game. But, good offense mixed with the way the defense is playing, they definitely could still, have a fighting chance for this season.
All they have to do is just take, the first quarters from the Chargers game, first quarter from this game, and then turn it into 4 quarters worth of football, and all of that, changes. I mean, you have a great defense. When you look at the games that the Broncos have lost, with the exception of the Las Vegas Raider game, I mean, they've held their opponents under 21 points. And when you do that, you're supposed to win football games because, listen, I know everyone is down right now, but you have to start looking at the positives, not just focusing on the negatives.
We'll have to see if Russell Wilson's ready to go. Nathaniel Hackett said that he's maybe trending that way, but they're going to be smart with this thing. Would you play him next week, Todd? There was reports that maybe it was a partially torn hamstring. They got the bye after this, so maybe if you rest him next week, that's going to be like 4 weeks until he actually plays in a game. So you think what do you think?
I think he should play. I know he might be a partially torn hamstring, but you have the bye to fall back on for rest. If anything was to happen in that game. So I know he needs the rest, but I think it's more important for them to get this win. The back half of the season is loaded with a lot of tough games. I think this one against the Jags is a must-win for them, so I think he might need to play for that game.
No, I'm not going to side with Todd on this one. No, he just said it. You look at the back half of the season, you're going to play against some teams who are in the playoff chase. And if we're talking about a partially torn hamstring, soft tissue injuries, those things linger and they can be very difficult to deal with. So I want to keep him out for another week to make sure that he's right. Because let's just say, by chance, by luck, the Broncos do beat the Jags without Russell, then you have a healthy Russell coming back. On the back half of the season, to me, I'll take that over anything else.
So you honestly believe they'll beat the Jags without Russell in London?
That's a strong possibility.
Okay. If you really feel like they can,
right? They can, right?
If they go to 2-6 with the back half of the season being really tough, that's rough.
Wait a minute, Top. I get that. I know the sense of urgency. But what happens if Russ plays in that game, they win, and then he does something worse to the hamstring? Now we're looking forward to 2023. So which one you want, Todd?
You're picking the lesser of two evils, I guess. They're both bad.
I'll take that evil then. I'll take that evil.
I know. Russ being overseas, wanting to see the stars of this game play abroad. I know he's going to want to be out there and play. And I think this was the first time he's ever missed a game where it wasn't like surgery involved, So I know that must have been really difficult for him to watch. But the Broncos 2-5. Justin Simmons was asked, hey, in your worst nightmare, would you have thought this team would be 2-5 right now? He said it doesn't matter. This is where they are. So the Broncos have to find some answers quickly. 2-5 for the 4th time since 2010. So this Broncos team looking for answers, heading abroad to face the Jacksonville Jaguars next week. But for today, it's a 16-9 loss to the Jets. That's going to do it for us. For Nick Ferguson and Todd Davis, I am Phil Milani. This has been Broncos Postgame Live.